Good morning, everyone. It is a beautiful, sunny February 2nd. No, wait, February 1st here in North Georgia. But today we're going to an area that I haven't been to in a while because it was closed due to COVID. So we're going to be walking out here today. There's lots of nice riparian areas, lots of nice rocky bluffs, and should be plenty of opportunity to see some snakes today. It's supposed to get up into the mid-60s. I mean, it shouldn't be too much to ask that we at least see something today. So I'm gonna get after it and I will update you guys with our first find. So this area we're at today is a lot like a certain place in southern Illinois where you have the bluffs on one side, which we're not quite to yet, so there's not much in the way of bluffs, but you can kind of see the rock up there. And then we have a big body of water on the other side. So you get a lot of snakes that'll come up from the river over there and come up here and brumate in this hillside. So we're gonna walk around and see if there's anybody out basking today. But I think the first thing we're gonna do, since it's kind of cold still, is run down here and check a little creek for salamanders. All right, so we're gonna let all that stuff warm up a little bit and revisit it when it's getting more sun. But there's some really nice salamander habitat in this area too that I haven't spent a lot of time in, especially recently. Look at this beaver work. This is a full-sized living tree. And the beaver has just absolutely decimated it. So I don't know if you guys can tell from the audio or not, but just like yesterday, today is unpleasantly breezy. And this time of year, and in these conditions, that can mean the difference between finding snakes and getting skunked. And generally wind means you're not going to have a very good day. But I'm hoping that the sun will at least warm the rocks up enough that snakes will come out and at least be under rocks. All right, here's our first herp of the day. Nothing too exciting, but this is a species of desmog we don't get to see terribly often. This is the Apalachicola dusky salamander. These guys only come up into the Piedmont a little bit along the Apalachicola drainages. It's really interesting. You can kind of tell that this guy's a lot more slender in build than the spotted dusky salamanders. But anyways, I'm sure we're going to see plenty of those along this creek. They tend to be the most common salamander. So we'll walk this for a little bit. And next find is something I actually wasn't really expecting in this area. I don't know why, but I just I don't think I've ever seen one of these here, even though I've herped here quite a bit. This is a gravid female southern two-line salamander. You can see that she's a little bit plump, and she's probably going to be making her way down to the creek here to lay her eggs very soon. In fact, it's kind of weird that she's still on land at this point in the year. So something really weird just happened. I was walking up the creek and I saw that rock. I was like, oh, that's nice. Might have a salamander under it, right? Because it's in the creek and there's water underneath it too. So like, I flipped that rock and sitting in the water were two Nerodia. Well, I mean, what? What on earth? So one of these guys was actually in the process of coming out from under the rock when I flipped it. And I guess he was probably going to come try to bask. And I think that's a really good sign for things to come. But this orange one is beautiful. I mean, that thing is really crazy looking. You see he's almost got a stripe down his back. It's just a really good looking pair of water snakes. What a great way to start the day. All right, guys, here's a look at the prettier water snake in habitat. They're both good looking, but this one has got some really good orange coloration. It's not as vibrant once he's dried off outside the water. I've got him sitting here in the sun and taking pictures, but really good looking water snake. I can't believe that there were two snakes under that rock. I was surprised to see one. The less colorful one was actually coming out. It looked like he was coming up a burrow and was gonna come out of the rock and bask. And this guy was tucked in there, barely even visible. All right, guys, here's one more look at these two together, and I'm gonna put them back. They're sitting nicely for photos. This rock is super nice and warm in the sun, and I'm sure they're just enjoying that warmth. But yeah, fantastic looking little pair of Midland water snakes. Two very different looking snakes, especially when they were wet. But yeah, I'm glad we're on the board. We didn't see too many salamanders in this creek, but I guess that's fine if we're finding snakes. So that being said, I'm gonna put these guys back under their rock. Definitely happy to have finally broken the ice today and on this week after yesterday's failure. It was pretty frustrating considering how nice it felt, but feeling a little bit better today, a little bit more optimistic about the rest of the week. So we'll put these guys back under their rock. I'm probably gonna start making my way up into the bluffs now that the sun is shining on them good, and hopefully there will be some snakes out in that area as well. But yeah, the first snakes of the day, a nice pair of Midland water snakes. All right, guys, there's your rock. Those leaves are a perfect spot for these guys to bask. He's just going for a swim, I guess. That other guy went straight down to the leaves, though. Really cool. You can see how steep this is. That's the creek we were in down there. It's about noon right now, so we've got probably 4 or 5 hours. Maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration. Maybe 4 hours of good snake hunting weather before the sun starts to go behind the trees. So I'm gonna work all this bluff habitat we walked past now that it's getting good sun, and hopefully we'll be able to turn up at least a couple more snakes, but we'll see. This place can be very fickle, and I wouldn't be shocked if those are the only snakes we see all day, but I would be kind of surprised. So hopefully we'll be able to kick up some more stuff in this habitat. Well, it's been about an hour, and haven't seen much, unfortunately. No lizards or salamanders or anything, but this habitat is awesome. I feel like at any moment I'm gonna look at one of these ledges and there's gonna be a snake sitting there. Here's our next find of the day. I saw a ground skink and one other anole that I didn't get video of, but that's been it since the water snakes. It's decently warm, so I was expecting there to be more anoles out. This is the first one I managed to get in hand, just hanging out here on this dead tree. So I'm gonna let him continue doing his thing, and we're gonna keep walking. Who would have thought that those rocks in the creek would have been the best snake rocks of the day? Not me. Here's another bigger guy. I spotted him right as he was starting to come out from under this rock to bask. So we'll let him go. I'm sure he knows where he's at. Go on. And we're gonna keep working this hillside. I've seen more anoles in the last 5 minutes than I have all day though, so hopefully this is gonna be a good little micro habitat. I flipped dozens of rocks, and I get to this guy perfectly situated right here next to a stump. And after I flip it, I found our first snake that wasn't in the water, which was this little guy. Nice little ringneck. Very healthy looking, very active. Was very quick to try to go down his hole when I flipped him. So that rock probably warmed up pretty nicely for him. One interesting thing about this guy is he's got pretty reduced pattern on his belly, which is typically something that we see in northern ringnecks. And we don't really get a lot of northern influence down here. We normally see a pretty typical speckled belly like that, but really nice. Good looking little ringneck. I photographed the one we found in the yard a couple days ago, so I'm not gonna mess with this guy anymore. Just let him go back under his rock. At this point, the day has been pretty decent, and I'm just hoping to see something with a little more oomph in it, like a king snake or a timber or something, but I kind of doubt that's gonna happen. There he goes. It's good enough. Okay, he did go back under the rock. I'm gonna flip that one now. Kind of surprised we haven't seen a scintilla. Those guys are normally the most common snake here. Nobody under there. All right, guys, well, the sun is starting to get kind of low and the breeze is picking up, so it doesn't feel as nice out here. And I think I'm probably gonna wrap it up here for the day. I plan to get out tomorrow and the next day. Hopefully we can wrap up this video tomorrow though, because Thursday is going to be 75. Which should bring some really good stuff out, hopefully. And I'm kind of counting on that being one of the first days of good spring snake hunting. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up here and I will see you guys in the morning. Good morning, everyone. It's the next day and we're out here with a couple of friends and we have just found our first salamander. This is a little marbled salamander. We're probably gonna be looking at mostly salamanders today, but we are gonna flip some tin and hopefully be able to turn up some snakes. These guys really want to see a copperhead, so we're gonna hit some of the tin here that produces copperheads, and hopefully we'll be able to find some stuff. But this is probably not gonna be the only marbled we're gonna see today, so we're just gonna get some quick shots and leave this guy be. All right, guys, here's another marbled salamander. This guy was actually under this corner, tiny little corner piece of tin right here. I was hoping to see a snake under there, but just this guy. We'll put him back. We've got plenty of habitat to cover today, so we're not going to spend too much time with these marbled since we see so many of them. All right, and beside this little culvert, I just found our first snake of the day that we got our hands on. We lost one a minute ago, but here's a little brown snake in situ, or as flipped, I guess, just hanging out under this little rock. All right, this guy is sitting chill. It's nice and cool out still, but it's not cold. It feels really snaky out here to me, so I'm really hoping this won't be the only thing we see. It feels very king snaky, honestly, so if we don't get Adam this copperhead, maybe we'll at least find a king, but I'm not going to count on that. We're going to put this guy back and keep working this type of habitat. There's lots of little rock piles like this that are great for these little fossorial snakes in this area, so hopefully we will be seeing plenty more of these guys. I'm just going to let him crawl back under his rock. All right, here is marbled salamander number 3. This is a big female. Kind of surprised we haven't seen more of these guys than we have, but it is getting towards like the end of their active season. Once we get into springtime, these guys are going to become a lot more uncommon, and spotted salamanders will start to become more common. So hopefully we'll be seeing some spotted today too, though. All right, guys, well, after a prolonged Karen encounter, we're back in the woods and back to flipping logs. That was interesting. Adam got most of it on film, but we were able to diffuse the situation and convince Karen that we're not actually out here poaching deer like she thought we were doing. So you never know who you're going to run into in the woods, but hopefully we'll be running into some more salamanders or snakes here shortly.
You're adorable.
Look, Adam found a cottonmouth.
Yeah.
Dude, good stuff. Well, I was starting to think we weren't going to see much on the surface, because really most of the snakes we've been finding lately have been flipped, because the rocks have been warming up so much faster than the air because it's just been so windy. But it's nice and overcast today. It's not as windy as it has been, and I'd say it's probably 60 to 62 degrees out here right now. So not overly warm either, but it's definitely warm enough for this guy. What an awesome snake. So these guys are actually pretty common in the southern part of Metro Atlanta. If you're on the east side of town or the north side of town, you're probably not going to be seeing cottonmouths at all. But here in the southern suburbs, they are fairly common, especially in the Flint River drainage, which we're in right now. So anyways, Adam spotted this guy. I thought he was going to reach down and pick it up because I just heard him say, snake. And then he kind of walked towards it, and then he was like, whoa, snake. And that was when I knew it was a cottonmouth. But still, we have not managed to find a copperhead, which is what Adam really wants to see today. So we're probably just going to get some quick photos of this guy, and we're going to leave him right there. He's got a good spot here on this brush pile, right next to the creek. And then over here, there's a big hole right there, and a whole bunch of holes under this root system where he almost certainly came out of. So yeah, that definitely makes the day for me if we don't see anything else, but we're going to keep trying for that copperhead. So I'm going to get a photo real quick, and we're going to keep moving. All right, buddy, we're gonna let you be. Look at that mouth. This guy actually doesn't have any parasites. So a lot of times these guys can get flukes, and they're really obvious in their mouth. You'll see a lot of little black slug-looking creatures in their mouth, but this guy's clean. So all around a really healthy looking snake. He's got a good body weight, doesn't have any blisters, and doesn't appear to have any parasites either. So he's off to a good start this year. We're just gonna leave him alone and keep hiking. So under this log, we've got green frog, 2-line salamander, and then inside the log there's another green frog. But we're just gonna put these guys back, put their log back how it was. But really cool, a lot of stuff under that one little log, including a nice little 2-line salamander. These guys just fought through the briars to flip our first spotted salamander of the day. Look at that. Yeah, first spotted of the day. Kind of surprised it took us this long. They're pretty common in this area, and we're getting into the peak spotted salamander season. So another interesting thing about this guy is he's got a regenerated front foot there. You can see the normal foot on the left, and then I guess that would be his left foot that's regenerating. Really cool. We'll put him back under his log. All right, Adam, let's see it. That was pretty elegant, actually.
I own like being scared, so like I'm gonna enjoy it. But yeah, you know what? I'll enjoy it when I'm done. But I don't like it.
All right, wait a second. Man hadn't even hit the bridge. There's a turd. Someone pooped on the bridge. All right. All right. Y'all got this.
This is not a bridge. Is it like rocky? I don't think so.
All a bridge is multiple trees put over a creek to make it easier to cross. So we're almost back to the car, but we just flipped another little 2-line salamander. This one's actually a gravid female. I'm gonna pull her out and put her log back. Generally, these guys lay their eggs in the water, so she's probably gonna lay them over there somewhere in a similar situation attached to the underside of a log. But you can see she's super thick and has a regrown tail. Alright guys, I am currently on the way home. It ended up being a pretty solid day if you ask me. We got a nice mix of salamanders, a nice mix of goofing around, and a little bit of snakes sprinkled in there too. That big cottonmouth was definitely the highlight. They're fairly common in the area, but it's always a treat to see one this early in the year. In fact, I think that's probably the earliest I've seen a North Georgia cottonmouth. So I will definitely take that. But anyways, it's going to be super warm tomorrow, and I expect we're going to do decently well, so I'm going to try to make tomorrow its own video. But anyways, it's going to be super warm tomorrow. I expect we'll do decently well with snakes at least. Hopefully we'll knock it out of the park, so I'm going to try to make that its own video. But I'm going to wrap this one up here. Thank you guys for watching. I'm glad I was able to get some snakes in the first episode of the week, and hopefully it won't be an issue to get some in the second episode too. So I will see you guys then. There's a toad in my driveway. Let's go see him. All right. I know I was ending the video, but now we're gonna go look at this guy. I don't have my flashlight, but I mean, look at that. It's an American toad by headlight. And on that note, I will definitely wrap this up, and I will see you guys in the morning.